So what I want to do is just try and get an understanding of you rather than just make a judgment on videos based on some of the comments you were making with Sarah. So the first one is, every time Sarah mentioned Black death, Black exploitation, oppression, you felt the need to counter it with, what about white people? Considering the fact that we've seen these murders and we've seen this oppression live and direct, and you say you're not a racist and you care about black people so much, you've given a lot of heartfelt testimony today about how much you're in support of black people. Do you not think the compassionate thing to do in that situation is say, do you know what, yeah, that is wrong, and just stop there?
I did.
Why do you feel the need?
I did do that.
Why do you feel the need to counter every time a mention of a black death is made with, well, what about white people?
I didn't feel the need to counter it, and I did feel, I sat and didn't open my mouth on Black Lives Matter for weeks. Even
Sorry, I'm just talking about this interview, and I don't get as much screen time and my time as you do. So I'm gonna try and ask direct questions, hopefully get really direct answers. So every time he mentioned, you know, a black death or a black situation that we're unhappy with,
yep.
Why did you counter it with, what about white people?
We're here to debate on an issue. I believe I'm here to put across the side to the British public, which I think are frustrated. And I think that as frustrated as the black community are with what's happening to them, the members of the white community are frustrated.
We are unhappy about a murder that we've seen. Let's just take George Floyd as one. We can forget about everything else. When that gets mentioned, why do you need to counter that with what about white people? As somebody that's
did I counter that?
Yes.
What did I say?
Every single time you said, what about white people? What about the white girls that are getting raped and murdered? When we were just talking about an incident, and we're having a conversation about
we were talking about why black community are feeling aggrieved, why the black community are feeling angry.
Exactly. So we're talking about why we aggrieved. As somebody who is a non-racist, who's a non-bigot, who's compassionate and very supportive of the black community, why do you feel the need to counter that every single time?
Because we're here to discuss on either side why people are angry.
I would put it to you that I think you don't care. But that's just my opinion, because I feel like, again, you can't answer that question. Everybody here heard every time you countered with, well, what about white people? Okay? Just again, from my understanding.
No, I counted with statistics and numbers.
I wasn't asking about statistics.
No, but we need to.
We're talking about a death. This is an evil act that has happened.
Yep.
And you say, your response. Yep. Appears as if, well, you've got nothing to complain about because white people get murdered all the time. So
no. My response is that
I'm just going to go into my next
see a hell of a lot of emotion.
I don't get as much screen time and as much mic time as you, so I'm going to try and get as many questions in as I can. You said, now everything's about race. Do you feel like race relations in the UK, particularly with black people, were all sweet before, George Floyd and these black...
Between whites and blacks in general in the country, yeah, I did.
You do think that race relations were good?
Yeah.
Even though you said you've been fighting racism for 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The next thing is, you mentioned about Black Pound Day, and there was an issue around that. There's a rhetoric, and there's this stigma around black people, and having chips on my shoulder sometimes, expecting a handout and things like that. So, I just wanted to ask you, just again, if you could give me a really short and sweet answer. Do you think white society owes black people, African people, a debt for empire and for what they're perpetuating today in terms of exploiting African countries and even Caribbean ones? Do you think white society owes...
White society?
Yes.
White society as in every white person?
Do you think white society owes...
Well, when you say white society, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yes.
Every white person?
Yes.
Do you think I owe a debt? No.
I've asked you a question.
No, I don't know.
You don't feel...
I don't feel like I owe a debt.
So
do I feel there's a historical...
So me asking you, and me asking white society and saying, you should...
Do I talk for white society?
You should pay a reparation to us for the debts of empire.
Who's going to pay reparation for my family that was slaves? For my family that was slaves.
I'm just going to ask this really succinct question. When I say you should pay us a reparation, you should give us what we're due for what you've stolen from our countries and things like that, do you think that should happen? Just on that.
But because of...
Including yourself, white society. So
white society?
You in that.
My family were enslaved as Irish.
No?
Who's going to... No, not a no.
Okay. So then when things like Black Pound Day happen and we say, okay, I'll humour you and say you don't owe us a debt, you don't owe us any reparations. What we're going to do...
Do you think I do?
Yes.
You think I owe you debt?
Yes, I do. So what I'm going to say...
You think I should give you money? Because...
If I'm just going to finish this last point...
We will make America great again.